you see those movies where they look at the kid, not to say you would do that, but like they look at the kid as like, that's not mine, blah blah, and then that kid feels that energy, and then this causes a whole fucking problem.
You know what? This is an amazing conversation because I was that kid. I'm not gonna cap. So my mother ended up having, like I said, my mother has 2 baby daddies. I ended up finding out. You know what? Let me go back to the background story. So I grew up thinking that my sister and I had the same father. Okay, that person who I thought was my father would take my sister and I out once a month, have breakfast, have lunch, whatever. And yo, I'm telling you, I was in those shoes. I would be third wheel. I would be completely ignored. I would be in the back seat. It would be that person, that father figure, and my sister, and they would be bonding the whole time. It was just him and her, and I'm just literally third wheel. There was a point where I was 8 years old, and my mother was like, hey, you know, you're going to go out with your dad tomorrow. But mom, I don't want to go. I always get ignored. My mom, I love her to death, but she has a big mouth. So my mother ends up telling the guy, okay, let's call him Jose, ends up telling Jose, hey, listen, stop ignoring the kid, da-da-da, whatever. The next time we hung out, bro, it was the fakest shit I've ever felt. Me as a 7-year-old or 8-year-old. The guy Jose was rubbing my head, you know, calling me champ all of a sudden after 8 years, you know, saying, hey, this, hey, that, you know, saying, oh, so how's school? How's this? How's that? Any girls? Da-da-da. Yo, like, we never even had a conversation ever in my life. Fast forward when I was 21, I'm explaining this story to my grandmother. My grandparents raised me, right? Why? Because my mother was a single mom. She had 3 jobs. She had to take care of the household. So I'm telling this story to my grandmother, how I was being ignored. My grandmother ended up telling me, Brian, I think this is a time where you need to have a conversation with your mother. All right. So, yo, right there and then, yo, something inside me, I knew. I was 21. I'm a grown ass man, but I knew. So I called my mom right there and then. I was like, Mom, we need to talk. I'm going to come over. I go to the table, the kitchen table. I sit down. I wait for her to come in. She comes in. And I literally tell her, Mom, who's my real father? I don't even know if I still think, I don't know what I named them. Juan, Jose, whatever. Jose. I don't even know if Jose is still my biological father or not. Yo, she broke down and cried. She ended up telling me, listen, Brian, you know, I ended up having sex with another man who ends up being, you know, I think his third cousin, second cousin, whatever. It was a few years later. It was, you know, it wasn't like my mom was just sleeping around. Yeah, and, you know, he was there, you know, emotionally, whatever. And it happened. It was, I don't know, it was a fling, whatever. He tried to be in my life. My mom said no. He had some party, you know, lifestyle or drinking lifestyle, whatever. So he ends up raising his own family in Costa Rica, etc. So me as a 21-year-old, I'm like, oh, wow, Mom, like, it is what it is. You know, shit happens. But what really triggered me was my mother telling me that my whole family knew and that she ended up telling my sister when she was 16 on her 16th birthday. Me being 21, I'm over here in the dark. And if I did not, you know, bring it up to light, I wouldn't have found out. Yeah. I ended up disappearing for 3 months, you know, with my girlfriend at the time. I came back. I forgave everyone, but I literally hated everyone. But at the end of the day, like I could definitely be in that little kid's shoes. Right. But, you know, now being a grown ass man, and I get it, you know, my mom even told me, you know, at the end of the day, he ended up looking at me as an 8-year-old kid, saying it was a constant reminder that my mother was with another man, his cousin or whatever. I get it. I completely get it now. Like, you know, I don't even resent my sister's father. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is. Like, there's something, you know, I wouldn't have been so much of a piece of shit, but I would at least acknowledge the kid. It's not the kid's fault. But at the end of the day, I understand his feeling, where it was a constant reminder. You know what I'm saying? And I just wouldn't even put myself in that situation. You know, it could be my exception of my history or whatnot, you know, but I just wouldn't even put myself in that situation just because of that, man.
Yeah.
And that's where if you talk to any therapist, they'd tell you just that, like, don't put yourself in that situation.
Yeah, of course.
Cycle's
It's gonna be some
itself.
resentment, and you know what? And that's one of the reasons probably that I want to spread my seed and I want to be the best father in the world.
See,
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
motivation. It's like I don't
1000%.
want any, it's like especially your child. I don't want anybody to feel like that because you always want them to feel like they're loved. But it's like especially you could. There's a difference. Not to say there's a difference between if they're theirs or not, but like essentially based on your experience. I don't want this to ever happen.
Yeah,
to anyone.
definitely. And but again, being devil's advocate, because again, putting my feelings aside, as a man, I'm looking at it as a whole picture. I understand both sides. I understand my mother's side, why she kept it a secret, why my whole family kept it a secret. They didn't want to hurt me. I understand that. They love me. Okay, great. But I also understand my sister's father, how, the type of way he felt. I don't agree with his actions of ignoring a 7-year-old kid. Okay, that was some pussy shit. You ain't shit for that. But I understand his feelings.
1000%. Yeah. As long as you can understand. And again, those things, like he said, those things happen, for a reason sometimes, like so much bigger than us, because that happening now will literally probably shift your entire being about the way you go about life and about how you're going to be as a father.
Right, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's like, without that ever happening, who knows if you would end up even wanting children? Who knows if you would end up wanting to be the man that you're going to be, the father, the man that you are
Right,
today,
and
all
it
that.
comes down to like I could have either let that break me as a 21-year-old. I could have been a drug addict. I could have done this. I could have done that. But I took it in the chin. I capitalized. I was always independent, thankfully, when I was a little kid. And I made something out of it. As a guy, you just got to make something out of it, because the world isn't fair, bro. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's coming back to the main theme of this episode is like, I think, again, I love my mother. I love, my girlfriend. I love women, but I think women need to understand that life isn't fair either. Just like men's life isn't fair.
Just the acknowledgement of just
Like life isn't fair, dude. You can't try to make shit fair. You think the Holocaust was fair? No. You think, slavery was fair? No.
right.
Life's not fair, bro.
Yeah.
Just, you got to deal with your cards. In poker, if you have a shitty hand, you can still win. Fucking make something out of it.
Don't dwell.
But why complain?
Indulge.
But I also think that's a men and women thing, because I think a lot of men.
Oh, yeah,
The only thing is
definitely.
with men don't speak about it. Women, I think, are more vocal in their emotions. Men, I think, just suppress those emotions.
They suppress, and hopefully, or sometimes, or at times, they make something out of it, and a small portion of women make something out of it. And I think some women just need to accept that in the chin, deal their cards, and just try to win at life, bro. Because shit happens. They end up complaining. You don't see too many men complain on camera about, my life is shit. Da da da. They end up sharing their story like I am once they're successful, and then that inspires other people.
Yeah.
But some people kind of stepping up, they kind of start complaining. So, life isn't fair. That's why I'm stuck in McDonald's and da da da. Like, my mom, my dad, that. Like, no, bro. Like, just fucking step it up, take it in the chin, and just grow out of it and get yourself out of that hole.
1000%.